I'm 84 years old now, and I can finally say it out loud. I spent my entire life being exactly what everyone needed me to be. The good daughter, the perfect wife, the mother who never complained. I shaped myself like clay in their hands. I thought that was love. I thought that was strength. But I was wrong about everything. And the cost? I didn't pay it. Someone else did. Someone who deserved so much better than what I gave them. The smell of hospital disinfectant still makes my hands shake. If you want more stories like this, please subscribe. The channel is still growing. My name is Margaret. I was born in 1940 in a small town in Ohio. My mother always said I was her easiest child. Never cried too much. Never asked for too much. I learned early that being good meant being quiet. Being loved meant being useful. My father worked at the steel mill. My mother kept house. I watched her move through rooms like a ghost, always serving, always silent. I promised myself I'd be different. I'd be better. I'd make everyone proud. If this story touches you, please consider leaving a like. It helps more than you know. I married young, 22. Robert was a good man. Serious, responsible. He wanted a wife who could host dinners and raise children and keep a perfect home. So that's what I became. I learned to cook his favorite meals. I joined the church committees he thought were important. I smiled at his colleagues' wives, even when they bored me to tears. I was so good at it. Everyone said so. When my daughter Sarah was born in 1965, I held her in the hospital and felt something crack open inside me. She was so small, so perfect, her tiny fingers wrapped around mine. I remember thinking, I will give you everything. I will make sure you never want for anything. I will be the mother I never had. But what I really meant was, I will make you into someone everyone approves of. I didn't know that yet. Sarah was a quiet baby, easy like I'd been. She had my mother's dark hair and Robert's serious eyes. I dressed her in perfect little outfits. I took her to playgroups where the other mothers compared their children like prize animals. Sarah always sat nicely, always shared her toys. The other mothers envied me. You're so lucky, they'd say. She's such a good girl. I smiled. I was proud. I had no idea what was coming. Sarah started drawing when she was 5. She'd sit at the kitchen table with crayons and paper, completely absorbed. She'd draw for hours. Strange, wild things. Purple trees, houses with legs, people with stars for eyes. The fridge was covered with her pictures. Robert thought it was a phase. I thought it was messy. Honey, why don't you draw something real? I'd say, pushing a picture of our house toward her. Something Grandma could hang on her wall? She'd look at me with those serious eyes. Then she'd nod and draw what I wanted. I thought I was teaching her, guiding her. When she was 7, her teacher called me in. Mrs. Henderson was young, wore colorful scarves. Sarah is incredibly talented, she said, spreading drawings across her desk. Has she taken any art classes? I glanced at the pictures. More wild things. A girl flying. An ocean made of ribbons. We haven't really encouraged that, I said. We think it's important she focus on practical skills, reading, math. Mrs. Henderson's smile dimmed. Of course, but talent like this. She's 7, I interrupted gently. There's plenty of time for hobbies later. The teacher nodded, but something shifted in her face. I drove home feeling proud of myself. Responsible, practical. Sarah stopped showing me her drawings after that. The years moved quickly. Sarah grew taller, quieter. She joined the clubs I suggested. Debate team, student council. She got good grades. She dressed nicely. She never caused trouble. Robert and I would sit at dinner and marvel at how easy she made it. You've done such a good job with her, he'd say. I'd smile. I'd agree. But Sarah's light was dimming. I see that now. Then, I thought she was just maturing, becoming serious, responsible, like me. When she was 16, she came to me after school. I was folding laundry in the living room. The smell of fabric softener hung in the air. Mom, she said, there's a summer program at the Art Institute in Chicago. My hands paused on a towel. An art program? I said carefully. It's really competitive. Only 20 students get in. But my art teacher thinks I have a chance. If I apply... Sarah, I set the towel down. Chicago is 3 hours away. You're 16. And art. I softened my voice. Honey, Art isn't a career. It's a hobby. You need to think about college, about your future. Art could be my future, she said quietly. I looked at her, really looked. She was wearing jeans and a plain t-shirt, her hair pulled back, no makeup. She looked so young, so naive. Baby, I said. I know it seems exciting, but the world doesn't reward dreamers. It rewards people who are practical, who work hard, who make smart choices. This is a smart choice, she said. No, I said firmly. It's a distraction. You have your whole life ahead of you. Let's focus on what matters. She stood there for a long moment. Then she nodded. She walked upstairs. I went back to folding laundry. I thought I was protecting her. A neighbor, Mrs. Chen, knocked on my door that evening. She was an older woman, Chinese, barely spoke English. She cleaned houses in our neighborhood. Sometimes I'd hire her to help with spring cleaning. She held out a small package wrapped in newspaper. For Sarah, she said in her broken English. I see her. Drawing. In park. I took the package, confused. Thank you? Mrs. Chen smiled, bowed slightly, left. I unwrapped it in the kitchen. Inside were professional-grade colored pencils, expensive ones, the kind I'd never buy because they were impractical. I put them in a drawer. I never told Sarah about them. Sarah went to State University. She majored in business, like I suggested. She got a job at a marketing firm. She moved to an apartment downtown. She called every Sunday. She came home for holidays. She smiled when I asked if she was happy. I'm fine, Mom, she'd say. And I believed her, because I wanted to. She was 32 when she got married. David was an accountant, stable, good family. The wedding was beautiful. I cried happy tears. Robert gave a toast about how proud we were. Sarah looked lovely in her dress, but there was something in her eyes, something dim. I told myself it was just wedding nerves. They moved to Arizona for David's job. Sarah called less after that. Once a month, then once every few months. She said she was busy. Work was demanding. Life was hectic. I told my friends she was thriving. Robert died when I was 73. Heart attack. Quick. He went in his sleep. Sarah came home for the funeral. She stayed 3 days. She was quiet, helpful. She organized everything. Flowers, food, thank you cards. On the last day, we sat in the kitchen, just the two of us. The house felt huge and empty. Mom, she said softly, are you going to be okay? I'll be fine, I said. I'm strong, always have been. She looked at her hands. You never really let yourself feel things, do you? I stiffened. I feel plenty. I just don't fall apart. That's not what I meant, she said. But I changed the subject, talked about practical things, the house, finances, her flight home. She left the next morning. I didn't see her again for 3 years. 3 years. My only daughter, living across the country. And I told myself it was normal. People get busy. Lives diverge. Then I got the call. It was David. His voice was strange, flat. Margaret, he said. Sarah's in the hospital. My heart stopped. What happened? He paused. She tried to hurt herself. She's okay now. She's stable, but... The room spun. I'm coming, I said. I flew to Arizona the next day. The hospital smelled like disinfectant and fear. Sarah was in a private room. She looked so small in the bed, so fragile. She turned her head when I came in. Hi, Mom, she said. I sat in the chair beside her. I didn't know what to say. I'm sorry, I finally whispered. She closed her eyes. For what? And I realized. I didn't know. I didn't know what I was apologizing for. A woman came in an hour later, middle-aged, kind eyes. She introduced herself as Dr. Reyes, Sarah's therapist. Can we talk? She asked me. We walked to a small consultation room. Dr. Reyes sat across from me. Sarah has been struggling with severe depression for years, she said gently. She's been in therapy for 6 months now. We're making progress, but there are some things you need to understand. I nodded, numb. Sarah has spent her entire life trying to be who others wanted her to be, Dr. Reyes continued. She has no sense of her own identity, her own wants, her own dreams. She's been so busy pleasing everyone that she lost herself completely. The words hit me like stones. She talks about you often, the therapist said. She loves you very much, but she also feels like she's been invisible to you, like you never saw who she really was, only who you wanted her to be. I opened my mouth, closed it. There was an art program, Dr. Reyes said softly. When she was 16, she wanted to go. You said no. My throat closed. That wasn't the problem, the therapist continued. The problem was that you never asked what she wanted. You decided for her. Over and over again, her whole life, and she learned that her wants didn't matter, that she didn't matter, unless she was what you needed. I sat there, silent. Mrs. Chen died last year, Dr. Reyes said. Did you know? I blinked. Who? Your neighbor, the woman who gave Sarah art supplies. Sarah found out through her son. Apparently Mrs. Chen used to sit with Sarah in the park. She couldn't speak much English, but she'd watch Sarah draw, and she'd smile. She'd nod. She saw Sarah. Really saw her. And Sarah says those moments in the park were the only times she felt like she was allowed to exist. I started crying then, silently, tears sliding down my face. All those years, all those choices. I thought I was guiding her, protecting her, making her strong. I was erasing her. I stayed in Arizona for 2 weeks. Sarah came home from the hospital after 4 days. I helped David take care of her. I cooked, I cleaned. I didn't talk much. One evening, Sarah came and sat beside me on the couch. I'm sorry I scared you, she said. Don't, I whispered. Don't apologize. This is my fault. It's not. It is. I looked at her. Really looked. I spent your entire childhood trying to make you into who I thought you should be. I never asked who you wanted to be. I never even looked. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. I thought I was being a good mother, I continued. I thought I was teaching you to be strong. But I was just teaching you to disappear. Just like I disappeared. Just like my mother disappeared. And I'm so sorry. We sat there crying together. Do you still draw? I asked. She shook her head. I haven't in years. I wouldn't even know how anymore. I went to my suitcase. I pulled out the package Mrs. Chen had given me 24 years ago. I'd found it in my drawer before I left. I'd brought it without knowing why. I handed it to Sarah. She unwrapped the newspaper. The colored pencils were still perfect, unused. She gave these to you, I said, when you were 16. I never gave them to you. I put them away because I thought I knew better. Sarah held them like they were made of glass. I was wrong, I said, about everything, and I can't give you back those years. I can't undo the damage I did, but I can tell you now, I see you, and I'm sorry it took me so long. Sarah pressed her face into my shoulder and sobbed. I held her, like I should have held her 1,000 times before. That was 3 years ago. Sarah's still in therapy. She's doing better. She started drawing again. Small things at first, then bigger. She takes classes now. She says it feels like learning to breathe. She and David separated last year. He was a good man, but Sarah realized she'd married him for the same reason she'd done everything else, because she thought she should, not because she wanted to. She's living alone now, in a small apartment with good light. She's working part-time and drawing the rest. She's not sure where it will lead, but she says that's okay. She's learning to trust herself. I call her every week. I ask her about her art, about what she's working on, about what she wants. Sometimes I don't understand what she tells me, but I listen, really listen. She sent me a drawing last month. It's hanging on my fridge now. It's a picture of 2 women, one old, one younger. They're sitting together in a garden. There are purple trees, and stars for eyes, and houses with legs. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen. I'm 84 years old. I spent my whole life trying to please everyone. I shaped myself into whatever people needed, and I taught my daughter to do the same. I thought that was love. I thought that was strength, but it was just fear. Fear of being rejected. Fear of being too much, or not enough. The cost of that fear was my daughter's soul. Almost. I can't undo what I did, but I can do better now. I can see her. I can listen. I can let her be whoever she's becoming. And maybe that's enough. Maybe it's never too late to start seeing people, really seeing them, even if it takes 84 years to learn. If this story meant something to you, I hope you'll share it. Not for me, but because maybe someone needs to hear it. Maybe someone is doing what I did, shaping the people they love into versions that feel safer, easier, more manageable. And maybe they need to know love isn't about molding people, it's about seeing them exactly as they are and making space for that, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's not what you planned. Subscribe if you want more stories like this. Real stories from real people who made real mistakes and learned hard lessons. And if you feel comfortable, tell me where you're watching from. What country? What city? I'd love to know this story reached you. Thank you for listening to an old woman's confession. Thank you for giving me a place to finally say the truth.